Saludos a todos and welcome to episode 30 of the PGP podcast. Hey, Josh Tobar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, ready to bring in all of these awesome guests we've had for 30 shows, just bringing their knowledge, their talent, because you know what? This field is not a lonely field. We choose to be alone because we don't reach out, and it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, no sé cómo, I don't know how, because you know what? The good thing about this little thing right here in our hand is that it's the world. We could get the world of knowledge in 1 second, and it's you that chooses not to be on it. Or if you are, you could get all of this talent in one palm, and you write it down, or you do your AI stuff, and it will make you the best version of yourself. Because you know what? Yes, it is about you, but it's the best version of yourself so that our kids could prosper and become their best version of themselves. What do you think about that, Dr. Moreno?
You know, Josh, as a person who just lost her entire hard drive, you're absolutely right. This is so scary and so dependent. I depend on that thing now because it's my life. So you're right. And we're not alone because guess what? We're able to rely on one another so that we can help each other out and get us through the toughest times. But you know what, Josh? We just had a great break. It was Thanksgiving. And so I hope everybody out there enjoyed their break as well because my goodness, it is that time already. When we come back from the breaks, right? Christmas is going to be around the corner 3 weeks. And then bam, I know in Texas we start doing star testing. Oh, Jesus.
Right. And so those of you in Iowa, you have no idea what she just said. That's our state testing. Star or EOC, that's what it is. And that's when, do you remember, let me show you my age, because I always make this age thing. Remember in Gremlins, when they got water and they started percolating and poop, poop, they started popping and becoming the evil gremlins? This is the time in education. So, hey, educator, hold on tight, all right? Enjoy. Be thankful for all the blessings that you have, because this is the time you start seeing conflict with kids, conflict with peers, conflict with parents. So if we always think that the glass is half full, that we are always thinking to ensure that we have positive intent. If we're thinking our brain is always on a fight or flight, if we're not thinking positive intent, what's going to happen? That clash. So you're right, Marty. What did you do for Thanksgiving?
You know what? I enjoyed myself here at home for the first time. I actually spent home in Houston. My son broke his arm, believe it or not, on Sunday. So I'm dealing with that. But you know what? The fact that I have my 2 boys with me has been a blessing. So I thank God really for having my 2 boys with me this Thanksgiving. And of course, I'm playing nurse. But you know what? I love my boys so much that it's just nice to have them home.
Awesome, great.
How about you? What did you do?
We did the family thing also in Round Rock. That's a little suburb outside of Austin. Drove back, and it's those moments to reflect on, those moments to ensure that it's not so much the eating part, but the sharing of ideas, the sharing of thoughts, and just those moments that you have with your own family, like you have with your children, with my children, and seeing them smile during the season. So whenever we do have that conflict on Monday, because someone broke the copier at 7:50 in the morning because they got there at 6:30 and they didn't tell anybody that they broke the copier, assume positive intent. You never know, all right? Don't be negative.
Don't be giving them like la sal, okay? Don't be doing
I'm
that
just
stuff.
saying. Because I know that you and I never dealt with that, right? The person
No, of course not.
the person that breaks the copier at 7:50 in the morning. Well, you know what, Maria, as we always talk about the Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua is a game played by Mexicans. I don't know, again, tell me, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. It's a game where you all line up. And then you yell, Chinchilagua y arriba, boy. And you run. Bam, and you jump on top of your cousin. And then the next kid, Chinchilagua y arriba, boy. You run. Boom. And it's all fun and games. Ha, 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 ha. Until you land wrong and you break your cousin's foot or you break your cousin's back, because it was all fun and games until the pain happens, right? So it's about having fun, but then sometimes things happen. And my thought today is this. Look, I just finished reading Kevin Curtis's book. We had him on episode 17, and he talks about discipline. And one of the basic things that he mentioned out there that we've seen this through back in the Stone Age when I went to school, I learned about this greeting kids at the door.
Mhm.
Everyone says they greet kids at the door. Well, you know what? That's kind of hard to believe sometimes. You could have a better control of it if you're in a small campus, but if you're in a 6A school with 3,000 kids, you're not in every hallway. And a lot of people leave so much on the table by saying, oh, I had to do this. Oh, and you're right. Sometimes you did have to handle a kid's issue after class or before class. But there's a lot of issues in those problematic campuses that are D campuses, F campuses, C minus campuses, because there's not a culture of love and appreciation towards each other. So if you can't do the minimal things such as meeting your kid at the door and just knuckle, I'm not telling you to do that thing on, have you seen that viral, the tap it and you dance or tap it and a hug? Yeah, those are
Josh, that's for the choices. That's when
right.
you choose exactly, right? If you want a hug or a fist
Right.
bump or yeah.
Exactly. And so it's up to you right there to determine how you want to start that day. And as Kevin Curtis says, SEL is not another thing. It should be one of the things that you do every single last day. So what do you think about that, Dr. Moreno?
Oh my God, Josh, you hit it on the nose. And it's that time, right? It's that time for us to make sure that we're really paying attention to our kids. And that's how you do it, right? By standing at the door and welcoming your kids. Not all kids want to fist bump or anything, but at least acknowledge them, right? And say, hey, I like your earrings. Oh, I see you got some new glasses on today. Kids need to be acknowledged and they need to be seen. They're not just a number. They are a person and they have feelings and they want their teacher to notice as well. So, I'm glad that you mentioned that today because guess what? Tomorrow is Monday and school starts. And guess what? Kids miss school. They want to be in school. Many of them, that's the only place they go and eat sometimes. And so I'm really excited that you mentioned that because it's important for us to acknowledge that.
And you never know, Teacher X. Hey, teacher in Idaho, that kid that always gives you a hard time was really missing you. And they give you a hard time because one way or the other, one crazy way or the other, he or she connects with you. And they were looking forward to seeing you on Monday to give you some grief. And you know what? Somehow you connected with him or her. Turn it around to make sure that that's a positive connection by building that awesome credit in their credit card. And how do you build credit in a kid's credit card? Because as adults, we're going to have to use some of that credit when they misbehave.
Yeah.
We're going to use some of that credit when they get bad grades. And how we insert credit? By every single last day making connections with them. Make connections with me before you content with me. So make sure you go back to episode 17 and check out an hour and 45 minutes with Kevin Curtis and find out his idea, his philosophies as he promoted his brand new book that just came out. And I'll be promoting that. But talking about promoting, how about we promote our awesome assistant principals onto the screen right
Yes.
now? And we start picking their brain. And Melissa got in there, Oklahoma in the house. There we go, Fantastic Four. And so, welcome everybody to the PGP pod. Nick Edwards, we'll be seeing you in North Carolina, Dr. Moreno. Nick Edwards does a Saturday message every time. Dodd McKeever Jeever, thank you for being here. The matriarch of the Fantastic Four Familia. Welcome for being here. Hello, Nick. And you know what? Let's start off with a panel. We're going to go around and start off by introducing yourselves while I start turning stuff on in my phone, making sure that I make all these shows public. Marcus, introduce yourself and tell the people how long you've been in education, what roles you've served, and which one has been your favorite. How long, what roles you've served, and which one is your favorite. Go.
All right, thank you for that. My name is Marcus Matas. I work at Roger Quist Middle School. I've been in education for 11 years. This is my 12th year. The role that I've ever been in is I used to be an AN Center director working with students who have serious emotional disabilities. That job was super rewarding, got to know the kids very, very well, their lives inside and out. So that's about me.
Awesome. Thank you. Yolanda McKinney out of the Lone Star State of Texas.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am Yolanda McKinney. Yes, right out of the Lone Star State, outside of North Texas in Prosper ISD. I've been in education for 20 solid years. My favorite position that I've held is currently the AP, simply because I get to build capacity at different levels. And so the AP is really my jam, and I am an aspiring principal.
Out of the awesome state of Missouri. Now, Kendrick, I just need to know this.
Mm-hmm.
I had my cooperative teacher back in the cave time was from Missouri. I
Uh-huh.
said Missouri, and she quickly corrected me. So, are you a Missouri or Missouri person?
So the part of Missouri I grew up in, which was St. Louis, Missouri, we don't even hold on to the state part aspect of it and really focus in on the St. Louis part. So I really say I'm a St. Louisan and drop the Missouri side of it. So either way, I would say St. Louis, Missouri is the number one hometown for me. So either way you said, Josh, hey, it's good with me.
All right. Introduce
So
yourself.
yeah, yes. I'm definitely I'm Kendrick Claxton, you guys, reigning from Kansas City, Missouri, and a proud assistant principal at Central Middle School. And I've been in education, approaching my 6th year in education. And the best role, or my favorite role, I would have to say each and every one of them. But I would have to echo exactly what Dr. McKinney said with the AP position, just with having those aha moments, moving from students to now adults, and just seeing that being fostered in classrooms. And I would have to say, yeah, that's my favorite role.
Beautiful. And out of Oklahoma, she found her way into the show. One of our awesome fans, just like Yolanda, Melissa Jones Chunu. Talk to us.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Melissa Jones Chunu. I have been teaching, I have been in education now, formally for 23 years. But if you want to say how long I've really been in education, because I was the Sunday school teacher at the Church of God in Christ Church, my dad's the pastor, that's about 30 some years I've been in education. But formally, I've been in education for 23 years. I taught choir and piano lab, elementary school for 10 years, and I taught high school, Booker T. Washington High School, my alma mater, for 7 years, and I've been assistant principal now. This is my 7th year as AP. So 23 years in education formally. My favorite position, man, I don't know, because in all of my roles, I was able to touch all of the students. Because of the music teacher, I taught all of the students, and now being the AP, I get to be with all the kids. So I don't know. I like all of my positions I've been in.
No, I need you to make a decision, ma'am.
I want to
Make a decision right now.
I love the AP. I love my AP position.
All right. Hey, when you sit in the chair, you have to make decisions you don't want to make sometimes.
You're right. You're absolutely right. No lie. Yep.
Thank you, panel, for being here. We appreciate your time. Dr. Moreno, take it
Oh
over.
my goodness, I'm super excited. Now, Yolanda, just really quickly, what level are you currently in? Are you middle school, high school?
I am elementary. All of my years
Okay.
have been in elementary, so I literally have taught every single level at the elementary level. And I also, SEL coach, I kind of touched all levels as an SEL coach, but primarily most of my experience is at the elementary level.
Awesome. Okay, I'm taking my notes. That's why. So here I am. I didn't catch that. So thank you for sharing. So Melissa, let's go back to you again one more time. For people to really understand what you guys bring to the table, it's important to know who or what inspired you or motivated you to become an educator. So why don't you tell everybody out there who or what motivated you to become an educator?
Well, of course, my mother, she passed on in 2005. She was not a formal music teacher in formal education, but she was the minister of music for our Oklahoma Northwest jurisdiction. So she always taught music. She taught us music as children. So she was really my first teacher. And then my dad, of course, being a pastor, he was always a teacher of the word. And so that was something that was just in my home. my parents really were my inspiration for being a teacher. And so as I grew up and I went to college, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do elementary education. And then I was like, no, I'm going to do music education. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. And I was so glad I did. But yeah, my parents, kudos to my parents. They really are my inspiration.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Kendrick? Who or what inspired you to be an educator?
Oh man, this is a question that I would have to say was ingrained in those long late nights of staying up with my grandmother and just having those conversations where, hey grandma, where did we all begin? Where did this start? And she just started off just telling me about her HBCU experience and her experience of even trying to be a part of education and get into education, because my grandmother, rest her soul, she passed away in the last December last year. And she was an educator herself. And not only that, I was able to see hands-on of some of the impact that she had on many of the students that she encountered during her tendency as a teacher. I remember sometimes students coming over like, okay, grandma, what are these students doing over here? Hey, Kendrick, they are over here, or Ken, they like to call me. They're over here, hey, for dinner tonight. Most of the students that she encountered didn't have some of the luxury of things that we had. And she was able to basically give some of those students an experience that I was partaking in. So I have to say my grandmother.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And isn't it so nice to see her in action, right? It was so rewarding. Yeah. Yes. Yolanda, how about yourself? Who or what motivated you?
For me, it goes back to my elementary village. There's an old African proverb out there about just having the warmth of a village. And so mine goes way, way back to those elementary days, past preschool, but, shout out to, Mitchell Elementary back in my hometown. That's where it really started. I won't ever forget my very first kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Hale. She was phenomenal. I would be the first kid there. She would let me in. Hi, sweetie, welcome to school. Just warm, just very warm and welcoming. Welcome to school. Are you ready to get, started? And I would always say, can I help you with anything? And she would say, yeah, sharpen the pencils. Or sure, lay these out on the desk for me, or whatever the case may have been. But then just growing up, through first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, having those teachers within that village that always kind of ingrained in me also that, hey, you're going to be something great one day. We don't know exactly what, because I was that child that was all over the place, right? I was the constant talker, the disruptor. I answered questions that was not asked of me. I asked questions that I probably shouldn't have been asking, but that's what led me here. So definitely my elementary village, they pushed me and really encouraged me. So really by the time I was out of sixth grade and seventh grade, I pretty much knew that I was going to be an educator. What type, I did not know, but my elementary village for sure, James L. Mitchell Elementary. So
that is amazing. Wow. And that just goes to show that great teachers really are planting those seeds at an early grades, right? Because look at you. You wanted to be a teacher because of your elementary experience. Wow.
Absolutely.
That is great. Yes. Marcus, how about you? Who or what motivated you?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of who and what. So when I was younger, my football coach, he was an incredible inspiration to myself and to a lot of my friends I grew up with. He was able to bring communities together. He was able to, kind of shape us from young men to men. And I think that is what inspired me to others and really work with others. And then a little bit of the what. When I started working first with students and children, I was in residential treatment facilities. And that was the first time it really sparked in my brain, like, if you want to make a difference in this world, if you really want to make a change, work with students, right? That they're the ones that are going to be that, like, the future, obviously. You get to dig into them, and show them, the right ways, the positive paths that they can influence in their own lives, just as my coach did with me. I think that, you're going to change so many lives.
year after year after year. And then they send you emails and everything else, right? With social media, they kind of follow you later on. So it's so beautiful to see our kids now grow up to have their own kids and experience what sometimes they did when they were in school, right? so
Yeah, absolutely.
so awesome. Thank you, Marcus, and thank you all for sharing.
So let's peel the onion a little bit back. But before we get into that, big shout out to Shika Houston. Thank you for being here, part of the Fantastic Four. But most Jefe. Jefe's in the house. I don't know what part of the country he's in. But Principal Cafela, thank you for being here today. Appreciate that. Fantastic Four. In a couple of weeks, Jefe will be here on the show, joining us. Get ready. Take out those notes, just like you're taking out those notes today with this awesome panel. All right, let's peel the onion. Let's see some crying going on right now. Tell the audience, and part of this question has to do with educators. You know that there's a vacuum. We all know that, right? We can't hire enough people. We can't find people. And some people that are alt certs are saying, should I go into education? Do I have what it takes? Not everyone had that foundation of setting up their dolls and teaching them 1 + 1. All right. Not everyone was there. So tell the audience, however you feel comfortable, panel, like I always ask, how are you as a student in high school? How were you as a student in college? But most importantly, how did your parents influence you to get to this point in your life? So how were you as a student, and how did your parents influence you to get to this point of your life? Take it away, Kendrick.
Oh man, that's put me on the spot, Josh. With that being said, that's an excellent question. First off, I would have to say that my parents played a magnificent role in the man that I am today, and with the hard work and dedication, and plus the G that I always add now, which is the big G, which is God, that I implement in everything that I do. So with that being said, I have to say my parents played an awesome role and continue to play a role to this day with keeping me in education, with having those prayer conversation, having those, hey, Claxton, you have to sometimes encourage yourself. Basically, my mother giving off those scriptures of Romans 8:18 of like, hey, you have more yet to come, and all of those different things. So I definitely have to give a big whoops up to my parents of just having that solid foundation of exemplifying what an actual teacher is. Next, oh man, as a high school student, growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, I didn't have too many role models, I say. I had a lot of people that were showing me what I did not want to be or want to do. And I'll have to say that even my parents played a role in that as well, because my mother, just to be vulnerable right now, my mother didn't graduate high school. She didn't have that opportunity to do that, for she had a child at a young age. See, it was 10 of us growing up in the household. So just trust and believe me. Yeah. So trust and believe me, I get that stoic. I get that hard work and dedication just watching my mother make things come out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys are hip hop fans, but Tupac says all of the time, dear mother, my plan is just to show you that I understand. And I am still to this day of trying to understand how did she do this. And then now as I was in a college student, I'm a lifelong learner. I definitely vow myself to that, and being that from obtaining my doctorate right now. So I have to say, as a college student, man, two totally different worlds. College and high school, I was thinking college was a place like, hey, I go here for the whole entire 8 hours. I have a different schedule. And plus, I was an athlete going into college. So that's a major difference. And like I like to tell the entire audience, and even when I was in the high school setting, you guys, that those 8 a.m. classes are not like the 8 a.m. for high school. Trust me. So I have to say that it just have a lot to do with learning how to study, learning how to network, learning what's actually my path. Because like I said again, that at first I wasn't in education. I was wanting to be a registered nurse. I was in my junior year of being a registered nurse, and then transfer over and say, hey, I did the Freedom School thing and fell in love with education and just pouring into those students. And shout out to those Madeline Hunter cohort that went out with me in Tennessee. And Freedom School really was the big thing for me. They said, okay, next semester, you guys, I'm changing my major, even that it added on a year. I said, I'm changing my major to education. And so far, it's been so great. And I love it every day of it, every part of it.
Bam! Eso! Yolanda McKinney, talk to us.
Yes, so for me, my parents were the epitome of, there's not just one word, but I would definitely say a hard worker. I've not known my parents to do nothing other than work hard. There's a saying out there, work hard, play hard, right? But unlike Kendrick, it wasn't 10 of us, but it was half of that amount. So it was 5 of us, and I was in the middle. So I got to see things that my older siblings did, and then there were things that I did that my younger sibling got to see. But no matter what, it goes back to the village, having, your heart where it belongs and matters most with your family. I believe that is your number ones, right? And so just some of the things that they instilled in us, determination, not giving up, definitely going after what it is that you want to do and who you want to be. And so instilling strong faith, having that work ethic that you must present on a daily basis to be what it is that you want to be. There were times that, we failed hard, right? But it's not about, falling. It's about getting back up, failing forward is kind of what I like to say that as. Never ever falling back, but always falling forward and learning from those mistakes. Absolutely. And so having those siblings and my parents to, continue, just having that go for it mentality. In high school and college, at high school, I was very popular. I was, captain of certain sports teams, cheerleading team, and on the flag team, captains of all those things. I, loved school. So it kind of continued from elementary all the way to junior high and high school. I was blessed to only attend only one elementary school, one middle school, one high school. So having, again, that village of, oh, now she's coming up, and having seen my siblings come up, oh, we know what to expect. Hold on, wait, she's not like them. What did you do different, or why do you act this way? You have to blaze your own trail, if you will, right? Be a pioneer of excellence for yourself. So I was very different than my siblings coming up. I was, again, very outgoing and wanted to do it all. But I still loved learning. That's where I met my husband in high school. We've been together since. So, it's very warm. It's a warm feeling for me when I think about my high school years, because that is who I am today. Just a very more mature, focused, determined educator that continues to strive for excellence, if you will. Again, in college, straight out of college, or right in college, still that, kind of the same things, very high energy. But as Kendrick just said, those 8 a.m.s, they hit different than going to, your elementary or your high school. It hits different, especially when you're juggling, a full-time job and all of the other aspects that go into your life. So having that full-time status where you're not just, attending for 12 hours, there were times where I took maybe 15 or 18 hours, and that was tough. I was at school from the time the sun went up to the time the sun went down, and then I went and worked a full-time job. So like, how does that happen? What do you mean you worked a full-time job? I made it happen, right? I was hungry and I had to eat. So I found a way, studying when we didn't have customers, or, studying, during my break, while other people, during college, they probably, study some other time, but mine was while I was at work on my break or during my lunchtime. So I just made a way. out of no way, and that's how I still am to this day. Everything is possible, but you have to blaze your own trail for sure and continue to pioneer that excellence for yourself.
Thank you, Yolanda. Hey, Kendrick, did you see what Jefe said about you? He said, hey, I didn't know it was you.
Yeah, I was with Kafele for the NASB conference, the National Annual Black Conference out there. Yes, most definitely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Marcus, talk to us.
Thank you. Yeah, just to start off, giving my flowers to my parents. They, obviously the house was filled with love, and I think that is exactly what put me into the position that I am today. I was someone who received a lot of love and had a lot of love to give. They were very great at, no matter if we had a lot, had a little. I had no idea what the difference was, because they were there for me every step of the way. Super hard workers. Every single day they got up, did what they had to do, made sure they provided for us, and me and my brother, made sure we had growing up. And I think that was just inspiration in itself. And I think that you don't really understand what your parents do for you until you get older, right? Until you get to go do it yourself, until you get to kind of make your own trail, like Yolanda was saying. I think that's the only way you truly appreciate what they sacrificed for you and what they, went through to give you just a shot, right? And I'm trying to do everything I can to, continue to take advantage of that shot that they gave me in life. As far as high school goes, I was a very inquisitive person. I asked a lot of questions, very curious about the world, and not just, academics. I was so I always probed my teachers, asking them, what about this? What about that? Not just my teachers, but any adults in my life. And I think that I was always taking advantage of the people in the room that had more knowledge than I did. And then as far as college goes, that was quite a shock to the system. Again, like I said, my parents provided a lot of support at home. I had a very strong support system. And when you go off to college, you're kind of on your own. Right? You have to find that support system on your own. You have to, network and create those communities within, your space. I needed to figure out on my own. But I was able to do it. It was a tough transition at the beginning, but it was also an experience that built me into the person I am today. Gave me a lot of tools that I continually use in my profession now. But yeah, that's just short and sweet. That's
Melissa Jones Chunu.
Okay, so my parents, they were very, very supportive of me in my educational pursuits. We knew growing up, we knew that we were going to go to college. And if we didn't go to college, we had to do something. We were not staying at home, just living off parents. That just was not an option in our household. So it was either go to college or get a job once you turn 18. And so I definitely chose to go to college. Fresh out of high school. My older sister, Monica, she also went to college. My brother went to college, as well as my sister, Angela, who just graduated with her doctorate degree. Yay, Angel. Yay. My baby girl. And so as a student in high school, I really was just really focused on my music. So for 1 year, I was in the marching band at our school. And really, for me, if it wasn't music, I'm not gonna say I wasn't interested in it. It just wasn't my priority at the time. So I probably was not the best student, even though I was passing all of my classes. I probably could have did much more, but I didn't in high school. When I went to college, you better believe I got on it. And I was on the honor rolls, and I had that job. I was working, worked in the housing department with Miss Jackie. She kept us busy there working. And I think I value my education more in college, and now even as a doctoral candidate at ORU, I definitely am all about my business, and hopefully I'll be graduating with my doctorate in May. It's been a process, and I'm talking about I should have graduated in 2020, But I've been through 5 dissertation chairs, 8 dissertation questions. But but God, we're gonna get through it. We gonna get through it. And so I definitely value my education, and I definitely want other people to value their educational experiences that they have, because people across the world would kill for the experience that our students have here in America, and our kids have no idea what other students experience. And so I've been to Nigeria twice, and I've seen it, and it's not that they can't do it, because they can. It's just that the opportunity is not there. And I don't want our children here to take the opportunities that they have for granted.
Beautiful. Thank you for all of you sharing, Dr. Moreno.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about your role. So everybody is an assistant principal. And one of the many, many things that you do, obviously, is assist your principal, right? Number one, but you do a lot of the supporting new teachers. So my question, I'm going to start off with you, Yolanda. How are you addressing the teacher shortage? And how do you support those who enter our field via the alt certification route?
Yeah, so with the teacher shortage, it's kind of like a Hunger Games out here, which is, it is what it is. Of course, I think I was blessed when I got into the field. I knew I wanted to be an educator. This is what I went to school for, through college, early childhood education. It's exactly what I wanted. But with the teacher shortage, there comes, many, I would say, pros and cons to it. Again, the biggest con I see is just, people are literally just scrapping. We're beating each other up, trying to grab them as soon as they come out, whether they're fully cert or not. If they're all, going through the alt cert program, or, hey, this is a fresh teacher out of college, and hey, I need a teacher because we have a new opening. No one is leaving, but our school is busting out of the seams, so we need a new teacher. So we're constantly being innovative when it comes to trying to, keep up with the teacher shortages. Any challenges that we have, we try to have a way to solve the problem. And so whether that's, of course, you have your job fairs, and you're on social media and you're putting everything out, but sometimes that's not doing what it is that you have to do to get those teachers in your building. So for me, what I noticed that my team, my principal and I, and we have 2 assistant principals. So something at our level that we're doing, we're just making sure we're visible, right? Exuding that positive energy every day, all day, where the students are excited to come into the building, and they're going into those communities and saying, hey, my school is the best school because of this reason, because my principals do this, because my school district does this. And so that's catching the sound of other people, outside, whether it's at a grocery store, at the library, and they're hearing this kid, just talk about how great their school is. Those people want to be a part of that, even at a restaurant. I try to be incognito and wear my hair differently or wear a hat. And no matter where I go, someone is going to find me. They're going to spot me. But I say that to say, people want to be a part of excellence. And it's really about the story that you are creating. You have the pen, you're the author. So how are you creating this story where you want those people to kind of lean in and want to be a part of your district? With the support for new teachers, again, being visible, having that high energy, being locked in with what it is that we're doing. So being present where your feet are, boots on the ground. Where are we? What do you need? How can I help? Nothing is above, nothing is below. So anything that they need, we are definitely there to assist them with getting what they need so that they can be comfortable in front of those children that they're serving every single day. They can't be their best for those children if they are not best for themselves first. And so we definitely try to give them what they need to ensure they are their best self every single day. So that could be anything, a plethora of things.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Some of the things I picked up from you was, you got to be visible. You have to be a part of excellence. present and boots on the ground and supporting your new teachers with whatever they need. So I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Melissa, how about you? How do you support your alt certification and how are you addressing the teacher shortage?
Yeah, so I am we at our building, this is my first year at this building. And we have approximately 7 new teachers that are in the building. So in order to address the issues that come along with new teachers, I remember what it was like being a new teacher. It's very hard, and especially now, it's hard now. New curriculum. So I actually started a new teacher academy at our school, and we were able to pay teachers about 2 hours after school. We do it once every other week. And we just go over simple things like how to use a smart board, or how to use the curriculum, how to find the guiding questions in the reading in the HMH curriculum. We talk about how to chart data. So we want them to collect data, but they don't really know how to collect data. We're all learning. So we go over those things that we take for granted as educators. I think it's important for our new teachers to be comfortable and even in discipline. Like we talk about best practices in discipline. No nonsense, like how to calm a class that's out of control, or how to set expectations, how to use no nonsense nurturing in the classroom. It's the simple things that we take for granted, but that's what destroys the vine. The small foxes destroy the vine. And so just want to keep them encouraged. I talk with them. I make myself available to teachers. So sometimes they'll just come into my office and they'll just talk for 2 hours, and I'm just like, don't you gotta go home? But they have a lot to say, and just know that they have a listening ear. I give them my personal cell phone number. They can call anytime. And also I do encourage them to take care of themselves. Like, you cannot go home.
Absolutely.
You cannot. And so just really encouraging self-care and care of their family as well, because you're
Absolutely
going to grow up, especially if you have little kids, and it won't be little anymore. So
Nope, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I love the fact that you created a new teacher academy to support those how-tos, because many, many times I'll tell you, a lot of teachers are reluctant to ask for help. But if you provide that environment for them, then they're more willing to kind of say, I need help, because you kind of created that environment for them. So awesome. Thank you. Thank you. What about you, Kendrick?
Oh man, that's an excellent question. I just love the feedback that Dr. McKinney and Dr. Jones Chunu had shared with us, because you definitely poured into some of those listeners that are not aware of some of those strategies to bring in teachers. So I definitely appreciate that. First, I want to just give a big shout out to the Kansas City Public School District for how we will in teachers during this pandemic of teacher shortage. One of the first things I would have to say, shout out to our talent acquisitionists down at the district level that are constantly having those walk-in, job fairs down at the district level, continuing to bring in different employees, making sure that our faces are visible everywhere, making sure that they are setting up tables, not only at the PWIs, which are the predominantly white institution, but the historically Black college and university, college and career fairs as well, really advocating to those students. And even like a student like me, because I'm definitely, I would have to say, a person that came from the recruitment of the Kansas City Public School District, which starting you off with some type of scholarship, because I don't know about you guys, getting into education, the number one thing that I was worried about is job security, making sure that I have a job, not only a job, but something that I can take care of my family. And one of the things that I bid on with KCPS is that, guess what, in the Missouri area, that we are the highest starting off pay for teachers, which is something that seemed bells like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be a part of that. So I definitely have to shout out to my district level on that. Next, on the school level, I definitely have to shout out my Principal Charlotte Wafer. Shout out to you, her guidance on some of the things that we do that she put into place to help our new teachers, such as making sure we are matching up a veteran teacher with a novice teacher so they can have those one-on-ones. My principal is big on writing, making sure that they are journaling about their day, making sure that they have a reflective mindset to see, hey, how can we make this experience better? Another thing I have to say, setting up those PLC, those professional learning communities, as we talk in the spirit of collaboration, you guys, and as a village, as we talked about, we need each other. I don't know about you guys as a new teacher coming into those big district or those big school meetings. I was sometimes afraid to raise my hand and ask questions. But during those small, concise professional learning communities where I was able to ask my department chair some of those questions that would not necessarily benefit just me, but staff, students, and all stakeholders. So I definitely have to say PLCs. And then lastly, and I know Dr. Jones, she hit on it with social emotional aspect, which is one of our 5 big rocks for the Kansas City Public School District. Not only social emotional for our students, but actually for our teachers as well. The work-life harmony balance is something that I am still dealing with to this day. I am trying to say, when is the close of business? Like I always asked in downtown, when is the close of business? Is it when I close my laptop? Is it 9 p.m.? Is it 5 o'clock? So I would have to say with just even helping our new staff members with their work-life balance as well.
Kendrick, you hit a lot of points. You really did.
Most definitely.
I love the fact that you shouted out to your whole district, but then when you narrowed it in and you shouted out your principal and talked about the veteran novice teacher combo and talking about journaling. I've never heard of a principal telling their teachers to journal. I think that's a really good strategy to really have your teachers provide that reflection, right?
Yes, and let me drop this last gem that I feel like that everyone needs to know about. It's all about the talk as well that we are having in front of students. We definitely have to be mindful as teachers of how important is their job. If they show that they don't like their job and that this is a constant problem and that I'm not here, guess what? You are now basically painting a picture for that student and say education is not for me. Yeah. So it's about that as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Look at that. Even Josh is saying drop the mic. That is so cool. Thank you. Thank you. Marcus, man, that was a tough one. That's a tough one to follow, sir.
All of these, I mean, we have juggernauts on this panel right now. They're very impressive. But yeah, I mean, a lot of what they said, I'm going to echo too, is that it's just a matter of making them want to be in your building, making them feel like they can be successful, not just in their job, but making them, some of them want to, continue their career in other ways too, and making sure that they feel like they have that, catapult in your building to be able to do so. So cultivating leadership within your building is also an important thing. I'm always looking for teachers who want to take it to the next level or take the next step, or people that have that capacity in them to, lead and inspire other adults, not just students.
Just like you guys did.
So I think that's a big part of, making the system that supports all staff, is if you're cultivating a leadership within your school with the teachers that are already there and already taking care of business, they're able to also connect with others who need that support as well. So again, with the mental health, making sure that their family's taken care of, making sure that they're taken care of, making sure that they know that, they can feel safe and supported in your building at all times. I'll jump in and have that conversation with the parent if you need me to. I'll talk to this student if you need me to. I'll talk with this coworker if you need me to. We'll have a conversation together. Whatever you need, I'm going to be there for you. Whatever it is, I'm going to take care of it. And then as far as getting new teachers into the building, networking is a huge deal. Social media is a big thing for our principal, Justin McMillan. He is everywhere on social media, and he makes sure that our school, he's carrying the banner for our schools out there, making it a place that, people see and they want to be a part of it because it's successful, because, it's a place that we celebrate people. It's a place that we have a lot of success. It kind of leads me to my next point, celebrating, the successes of your teachers. Make what they do is important, making sure they understand that you value them. They are not expendable, they matter. And the things that they're doing to move their students, if they're small or large scale, you're going to recognize it. and that joy factor is important, making them feel like, positive about themselves and what they're doing every single day. And then kind of onto the point of what our district is doing. Luckily, I have a district like you, Kendrick, who, they are really hitting the ground hard on figuring out how to make it more, desirable to be in 27J right now, Brighton, Colorado. They're making competitive pay a lot better. They're ensuring a 4-day week for our teachers right now. I was talking earlier, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal to a lot of people, especially after COVID. People got a sense of why it's important to be home, with family. Why it's important to have a little extra time. So having that 4-day, invaluable to a lot of our staff, and I think that it's paying dividends right now. But yeah, those are the big pieces that I have, as far as like, how do we, first of all, get new faces in the building, inspire them to want to be there and to do their best every single day.
And that takes the entire school.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can just pick up another job wherever they want. They're desirable, right? Everyone wants them right now. So you got to give them a reason to I need to be here. This is my place.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing some great ideas. I was writing a lot of them down. So awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Marquez, I'm about to retire, brother. I'll go work for you in Colorado, man. If it's 4 days a week, that's it, man. That's beautiful country.
Come on over. If
4
that
days
gets you
a
over,
week,
let's do it,
man. All right, guys, real quick. This is this could be a lengthy question, but just bring it down to its nucleus. What made you take the leap into administration? And who inspired you to take the leap? That's 2 thought process right there, okay? What made you jump into the chair? Who inspired you to get there, Marcus?
Oh, boy. All right. Well, what made me was, first of all, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but my school in DPS closed down. A lot of schools in Denver public schools are closing, unfortunately, due to, a lack of students. And that's kind of the next step of my career. I was very inspired to come and be a leader, because I've been doing leadership, having roles in leadership for my entire career in one capacity or another. And inspiring the most amount of students, that's always my goal as well. But the people that really got me there and inspired were my closest coworkers, the teachers that I worked with, the teachers that I supervised. They, continually told me how much they enjoy working with me. They continually told me, if you ran a school, I would be there. And I think that that's never been something that's in my mind. That's never been a question I've asked myself, but hearing it closely with, that tells me right there that maybe I am meant to do something bigger. So yes, I am an aspiring principal. I'm really excited for the role and the opportunity I have right now to impact as many students and honestly people as possible. I love being the utility player, as I call it at my school, because I'll do anything and everything, and I'll do it well because I'm going to put my best into it. And I'm just very passionate about making the educational experience for all involved the best that it can be. So that's who and what.
Beautiful. You're talking good. You're talking good, Marcus. And you know who talks good? Sean Hurt. He's the lead hitter of the Fantastic Four. I'd like to welcome him for being here. We got him all. He's always bringing up Luther and taking it slow like Luther. So, hey, Coach Hurd, thank you for being here. Marcus, thank you for sharing. Hey, Kendrick, talk to us.
Oh, man, that was an excellent question. But I have to say, Josh, I don't think it was nothing that made me want to be in this position. Like I always say, that this position is a divine calling to really set things into place and make change, not only for students, but I mean, in this position, you guys, we have a lot of people looking up to us, and those decisions definitely have an impact, not only on their educational life, but their holistically. Just think about the impact of education and not knowing how to read, not having the right professional developments to improve teacher and student learning and understanding. Just think about that. We are literally touching the future. So I will always say that this is a divine calling in this seat, man, I don't think it's no educational program, it's no internship that can get you prepared for this position and the things that will be thrown at you on a daily basis. Nothing in this world. So I have to say it was a divine calling. Some of the people that I would have to say that inspired me to basically take on the leadership role, which is Dr. Darrell Davis, Dr. William Blake, some of the great mentors here out in Kansas City, and Dr. Blake out in DC, definitely inspired me to basically be in this leadership role. And like Marcus said, I'm definitely an inspiring principal, not only principal, but I definitely want to be a superintendent as well, to not only make decisions on the school level, but to actually be in policy change, make changes that will happen, that will continually to be in place long after I pass away. So most definitely. So I have to say that in just a core.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Melissa Jones, Chunu.
Well, I always knew leadership was in me because of my parents. You know, my dad was actually, he just retired as an assistant principal back in May. And he was a assistant principal of a charter school. But of course, him being a pastor and my mom being a minister of music as well as an evangelist, I always knew leadership was in me. I actually got my principal's license back in 2005 when I graduated from with my master's degree. But I didn't actually become an assistant principal until 2018. And so I knew that I wanted to go into leadership because I knew I would have a bigger sphere of influence. Even though I saw all of the students as a music teacher, now I would have more influence over parents. Even though I had that as a music teacher, I would just have more of an influence over what happened in the school. So I really took that job of administration to affect more change, positive change in the school. And some people that have influenced me include Dr. Sherry Tapp, who actually was my dissertation chair. And she passed away in 2021, right when we were getting ready to start the dissertation proposal process. But she really encouraged me. She was like, "Dear, you need to go ahead and do your administration now. It's time." And so I did. It was like a Lion King moment. It is time, kind of like. And so, yeah. So she passed away, but I went ahead and did it because of her. And of course, Mr. Leroy Alfred. He was my first principal when I became a music teacher in 2001. And Leroy Alfred was like, "Girl, you got it going on." And he always encouraged me. And of course, he retired and he got inducted into the Oklahoma Black Hall of Fame for educators. But just all of the educators here, they've all inspired me. Haven't really had too many bad experiences with administration, and even those experiences that weren't the best, they were still learning experiences for me. And so, I learned what I needed to learn and I moved on, and I love it.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Yolanda.
Yeah, so for me, what made me choose leadership was really the impact I had as a teacher. Very, very early, it was stated from multiple people, from parents, from principals, from coworkers, people in the community. When I was a teacher, I realized that the impact that I'm having on the 25 students in my classroom, and then as a team lead, the 10 people that I'm working with on a daily basis, the places that we're going, the needle is going higher and higher and higher, right? We're moving mountains, if you will. And so again, as an admin intern, all the things, all the ideas that I brought to the school and, how we were able to flourish and gain so many notable statuses, model PLC status under, this initiative that Mrs. McKinney put in, it fueled my soul, right? I am very passion driven, and I've always, like I said earlier, wanted to be an educator. And so I was the person that had the dolls and played school with, and I had the siblings. And so I was the teacher. I would, send people to the principal's office, and not the Joe Clark style, but the principal's office was fun because why does it have to be a scary place? And that's even today for me. When students come into my office, even staff, they love coming to my office. It's the total opposite. And so those experiences really shaped me to be, an educator as far as an administrator goes. Just connecting those dots. Who inspired me? Definitely, I have to give it to my husband and my kids. Um, just being the nurturing person that I am, and again having that willingness and that motivation to achieve more, being that lifelong learner, having that impact. My husband seeing what I'm doing with our first child, like, you do this and you can do this in your sleep. Like, what are you doing? You got to go. You got to go right now. And so doing that, but also showing up at the elementary schools and on campuses where, again, parents are telling you, why is my kid calling you mama? Why you are not their mama? I don't want to hear them say that you're my school mama. You only have one mama. One student, I won't mention her name, but she got in trouble for saying, well, she's kind of like my mom. I have two mamas, and oh, her mom was livid. But it's how you care for your students. Even those students, they say, I know that I always gave you a hard time, but you were my favorite teacher. Or, some people ask the question, why does this student not give you a hard time? This student never gives you a hard time. Relationships. That's before you do anything else, you have to form a solid relationship. And that's with students, that's with parents, that's with teachers, anyone. Relationships are huge. And so, that kind of goes back to all of that. So definitely my inspiration came from my family, my husband and my kids, for sure.
Wow.
Hold on, wait. I have to get a shout out too, though, to the administrator side. For the principal seat where I'm going and where I am now, shout out to my very first principal. So I graduated in December, and as soon as we came back from January break, I was in the classroom. So shout out to Catherine Snyder. She was my very first principal, and she automatically knew right away, because when we were at that time, again, I'm fresh out of college, but we had a suggestion box, or what was it? Put your ballot in for who you want to be teacher of the month. And so out of the remaining 5 months, I was teacher of the month 3 times. And Catherine Snyder was just like, Miss Snyder, she's like, Yolanda, what are you doing? You have something that these teachers really, really like. We've never seen people just vote so many times for this person. So she coached me in that little short time that I was there with her. And then when I moved to Dallas, shout out to Janice Burns over at Anne Frank Elementary. She was very, very pivotal for me. She really kind of showed me the ropes on what it meant to be about the business, but create an environment where people felt seen, heard, valued, loved, cherished, and pushed to do hard things.
Yeah.
Yes, this is hard work, but we can do it. So those 2 ladies as well.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. Melissa, I'm gonna go to you first, okay? So I know we all have stories, right? I know principal for 20 years. I can tell you lots and lots of stories about kids. So I want you to tell the audience about a success story about you during your time here as an AP. And then I also want you to think about an event that you could have probably handled differently. So a short story, and then something that when you look back, you said, maybe I shouldn't have done that way.
Okay, so I have a great story. My second year as an AP at a school, that's when 6th grade was in the building, in the elementary school, we had this girl. And so I was, as Yolanda said, being visible is very important, not just for kids to see you, but so that you know what's going on in your building. And so I was walking down the hallways, and I was like, things smell a little skunky here. It's a little skunky in the hallway. So long story short, this baby girl had a drug ring going on in our school. And so she had kids coming to the school, putting money at the top of their lockers, and she was going around replacing it with Reggie weed. And so I was like, okay, this is like 2 weeks before school got out, and graduation was getting ready to happen. It was getting ready, the 6th graders were getting ready to have a lot of good things happen for them. So we called her into the office and I said, I said this. I said, girl, I love your work ethic. You have a bomb work ethic, right? I'm about to start selling Avon and I want you to be on my team because you got it going on. We just have to change your product. Like, you can't go selling drugs to people, right? And so she, felt uplifted. And so her mom came up and we were like, so we asked the student, well, where did you get the drugs from? And so, before the girl could even answer, the mom was like, that ain't my weed. That ain't my weed. Well, ma'am, it absolutely was your weed. That's exactly where she got it from. She got it from you. So anyway, she had been there at the school since pre-K. And so we decided that we were going to let her graduate, but she couldn't do all of the fun activities that had been planned for the sixth graders, right? So she had to be suspended because she can't sell drugs to people. That's just absolutely no. We won't have that. But she came back the next year. She went on to middle school and she was like, Chunu. She's like, guess what? I'm making straight A's. I'm on the speech and debate team. I'm on the cheerleading team. Like, I mean, she was doing all this and she just graduated from high school this year. And so, just looking out where kids can be, not necessarily where they are and not necessarily what they're doing right now, because we don't know people's stories. You don't know what happens, and just having that empathy and having compassion and being able to teach and show our kids the correct way to behave, or just to be. I think that's Bandura's social learning theory, which talks about students observe behavior and they learn from the behavior that is observed. And so we just have to be cognizant that kids are watching us. That, to me, that was a success story that will always ring within my heart. One thing that I had to do when I became an assistant principal, because I am a joyful person and I love to bring the joy and I just want everybody to be happy. But then, I had to make sure that the feedback that I was giving was making sure that all students were being successful in class. And so not holding back based off of my feelings, based off of what I thought other people might think about me, or based off how other people, might feel. Those are hard decisions that you have to make. And I had to have some hard conversations. And there were some PDPs I had to write, but that is part of the job. Like, you can be nice, you can be kind, but you can also tell the truth. And when it comes down to it, if you're not doing what's best for the kids, you don't need to be in the building, honestly. And so, just that, just learning how to really be a leader and how not to just, always just go by how you're feeling, but you got to look at the whole picture and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Melissa. Marcus, how about you?
So this is only my second year as an assistant principal, but I was a director of an effective needs center for quite a few years. And running that program, I had a lot of interesting experience. Ones that I can share as far as a success story, and this is something I'm always going to carry as a badge of honor. At the end of my tenure at our school as the AN Center director, we had a 33% success rate of students graduating from the AN Center program and going back into the mild moderate programming. So 1 out of every 3 students that was in our center program was able to achieve going back into mild moderate programming, which that in of itself is just, in my opinion, like, it was life-changing for myself, because I got to see these students become, one more with their the popular general education population. Yeah, absolutely. They got to have opportunities they wouldn't have otherwise. And I just think that that's just something I'm always going to be proud of. But as far as like handling a situation a little bit better, I would say as an AP, there's a few moments last year that I had. One in particular, I run our assemblies every single month. We do quarterly assemblies where we're celebrating our students for, rising to the crown, achievement in core classes, achievement in their exploratory classes. And I love to have fun with the kids. I love to play everything, and I get them pumped up, yelling, like, if you're in Mr. Smith's pathways, go ahead and make some noise. If you're in Mr. Johnson's pathways, make some noise. But one thing I didn't consider is that, not all teachers, love to be put on the spot. There was one class that, didn't, feel the same that other classes felt about their pathways teacher. I put her on the spot. Hey, make some noise for Miss Smith's class, and they didn't make any noise, and it was a very embarrassing moment for myself included, like along with the teacher. But I had to make that right. I had to make an apology. I had to talk to the classroom, and moving forward, we don't do it that way anymore. But it's just one of those moments that like, oh man, I messed up, but I made it right. So that was just something to share.
But we learn from our mistakes,
We
right?
do learn from our mistakes. Oh yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. These assemblies this year, no problem. They're awesome. They're smooth.
I love it. And I love the fact that you weren't afraid and you just continued, and everything is like better, right? Because now we learn from our mistakes. So
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yolanda, how about you? A success story.
Yes. So I am not a great storyteller. These two have done a great job talking about specifics. I don't think I can give you a specific story. I have many things that's happened, but I'm going to go back to opening a brand new campus, having the honor of opening a brand new campus, and definitely a true blessing. And with that comes a lot. It's a lot of energy, right? And those zones of regulation they're all over the place. I'm in the blue zone. I'm in the red zone. I'm in the green zone. I'm in the yellow zone. How are you feeling? And so last year we were opening a brand new campus, and I'm talking about we were getting down to the nitty gritty, and teachers are panicking and they're texting and they're, oh my gosh, the building's not going to be ready. The building's not going to be ready. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. We are going to pull in everyone to get your bulletin boards up. We're going to make sure that the floors are waxed and pretty. Just don't worry. And so, needless to say, that was kind of a little rhythm and flow that we got into because this wasn't ready at this time. Now I don't have this, and now I don't have this, and so I had to be very quick, if you will, on my feet and find ways to assist the principal with kind of making that noise be quiet. And so one of the things that we did was a playlist. We kind of latched up our tool belt and we said, hey, let's pull out this tool, and we're going to ask them for their playlists. What's something that makes you happy when you come to work? Something appropriate, right? And so it was those little bitty things before our students got into the building that they could hear and they could feel, and it would just literally calm them and put them in this happy place, right? They're automatically in this green zone. And so with that, we played a song one day, and, one of the teachers, she was a brand new teacher to Texas, and she's like, hold on, wait, you all do that here? That's allowed? Oh my gosh, this is heaven. So little bitty things like that. We also had jerseys. We created school jerseys. And so just to have that moment where a teacher or a group of teachers, last year saying, I've never had this experience where I really felt like I'm part of a team, because we all know you could feel like you're a part of a group. You can feel like you're part of a team, but they felt like they were really a part of a team, and having that jersey that they could put on their back, it really made them feel some type of way. And so when we would say, hey, throw your jersey on Thursdays, teachers knew what that mean. It was like, oh, turn up, we getting ready to do something, right? Something good is about to happen. So again, taking that damper off of, well, we couldn't do this because this happened, really taking that negative spin out of things and placing that positive impact on it as much as possible. And we incorporated the house system from Ron Clark Academy. That was huge for our students. And so really tapping in and allowing the students to take a lot of ownership of that, what teachers normally would try to push out, giving it to the students and letting them create the type of environment that they want, and having a bunch of say-so really had, a great impact for me, and really was a success, because we could have easily said, we don't know what we're doing. But in this seat that we're in, we have to be quick on our feet. So I would say, and making it through the year without any hiccups, that's a success story to me. As far as something that I would have handled differently during that year, and even this year, it's a bunch of doing it for people and not wanting people to to get it wrong, but let them, I have to step back and know that it's okay that they get it wrong. I'm quick to say, hey, I'm not the expert. Instructional coach, what do you think? I'm not the expert. Coordinator, what do you think? Right. And so I try to make sure that I'm displaying that all the time, because I want them to know that it's okay not to know everything. The part where I could have handled it differently is trying to do it. I already have the answer. Here you go. Putting the Band-Aid over it. Because guess what? That Band-Aid, when you rip it off and you haven't really applied the correct medication, it's going to be an ugly scar. It's not going to heal correctly. So allow them to say, ouch, ouch, that hurts a little bit. And then, you know, conform to what they need to get better at that moment, instead of just doing it or saying, here you go, let's do this together.
Awesome. Good advice. Good advice. Kendrick.
Yes. Oh man, that was good.
Round it out.
Yolanda, I think that you actually played us because you are a great storyteller. You told a great story. It was aligned. You was not all over the place. But let me talk about a success story. I have to say, my philosophy as a leader has definitely been an instructional leader. School is the place where teaching and learning should be taking place. Tier 1 instruction is at its highest peak. Interventions are happening in the classrooms. So I have to say my success story have to really deal with the Principal Kofele question of asking, what is my value instructionally to the teachers that I serve? That's a reflection question that I ask myself at the end of every day now in this month of December, as we are closing out or coming into the holidays. The holidays are not always a great time for teachers, students, parents. So we have to really understand that. And then the diversity of some of our schools of understanding that certain holidays everybody is not celebrating or recognizing. Next, we have to get into understanding of this. My next philosophy is understanding that life happens. We have to go in with understanding and leading with empathy of understanding, hey, life is happening during this time. You have a focus if you have kids of trying to make sure that their Christmases are the best Christmas that they have, making sure that you get in for those parent-teacher conference. And then at this time as well, teachers are now counting down those days. How are we boosting morale in these last 3 weeks of school? How are we making it fun, entertaining for them? So I have to say my success comes from just basically being an instruction leader, making sure I'm in the classroom with this teacher that voiced some concerns about, hey, Mr. Claxton, how could I really get my classroom motivated to learn or for what I'm teaching? And I came in and did a co-teaching lesson with her. And just during that co-teaching lesson, I always debrief at the end and try to get her perspective or their perspective on, hey, how did you feel about it? What are some new things? What did you see that I did that you can now embark on? And how can I support? But I have to say it was at the BLT, our building leadership meeting, where she was like, hey, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Claxton for reigniting my why in teaching. I was like, oh my God, to reignite your flame in teaching is something that I was like, okay, I'm done for the year. I can check out. I did my job. But with that being said, I have to say that was definitely a successful moment. And as a person that doesn't really bask in the moment of praise and different things, because this is an ongoing position, I really had to sit back and smell the roses and say, hey, Claxton, you're having an impact instructionally on the teachers that you are serving. So I definitely have to shout that out. Dr. McKinney, like I said, again, you said a great part about releasing trust. I was going to hit on that as well, but I'm actually going to pivot and go towards a moment where I had encounters with parents and family. I don't know about you guys, sitting down and actually giving out that suspension, making that phone call home for the first time. It can be daunting. You can be like, oh man, how do I supposed to go through this? How do I navigate through this? Do I follow the student code of conduct book? What am I supposed to do during this time? And I have to say that a student got into some trouble, and I was like, okay, it's time to call this parent. We had multiple issues with this student. This parent definitely voiced to me, hey, Mr. Claxton, am I having some type of concern with the student? Is there any way that you can help? Which is totally understandable with that. And with that being said, I don't think I provided that parent with empathy with the suspension, more of like a punitive style. And now my leadership since that time of last year have changed towards more of a restorative position, making sure that I'm leading with empathy, making sure that I have the student best interest in hand, making sure that, hey, this student is still being basically applicable to the lessons that are being taught, because it's extremely easy for you to feel out of place if you spend so many days out of school and out of a classroom. And the first thing that I do not want a student to feel like they don't not belong. You do belong. You do have a niche here. We just have to teach you those things. And like I always tell myself, allow students to make those fundamental errors in life. We have to allow our students to make those fundamental errors. Every student is not going to come with their pencil sharpened. Every student is not going to come in ready to learn. Every student is not going to be like, hey, I'm ready for the do now. A lot of these our students that I basically serve are, hey, where's the next meal coming from? Hey, I have to get back into the bill. I have to get back to the house, Mr. Claxton, to unlock the door for my younger sibling. So I can't necessarily stay after for tutoring. So I have to say that I changed my process on how I use discipline with the students, more of a restorative aspect instead of a punitive aspect, and leading with empathy of understanding where my parents are coming from and how this is going to impact them overall, not just that student.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kendrick. And you're right. Sometimes making those phone calls is daunting.
Yes,
you don't know even how that parent is going to react, especially if it's the first time. And my child never did that. It's all of that, right?
Never. All right, guys, we're about to close it out with a PGP podcast for today. But before that, real quick, if not, you're going to hear or the whammy. Real quick, vent to us. What troubles you up at night? What troubles you at night about our field, Kendrick?
Oh my goodness, that's a great one. Right now, since I'm on the spot right now, I will have to say with this new presidency, with the cancellation or the conversation around eliminating the Department of Education, which plays a pivotal role in the funding of schools, definitely for our schools that are Title I school funded. I would have to say the Department of Education plays a pivotal role in that. So I'm really concerned about that. But at the same time, I believe in the big G and understand that he's the guidance of my life. So I know for a fact that I really don't have a concern about education. So I have to say that that's something that's been on my mind at night.
Thank you for sharing, Melissa.
So many concerns. Our English language learners getting what they really need in our school. That's a huge concern right now.
Very true. Melissa, come on down. Come on down to MPA. I'll help you out.
No charge. No, you come on down here to Tulsa. Now I told you.
Come on down.
Okay, I got you.
Yolanda, talk to us.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot, but it definitely goes back to instruction and what we're putting in front of our students every single day. So what keeps me up at night is that instruction and the student engagement. What best Tier 1 practices are we implementing for not only academics, but social skills, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot that happened in the 2020, 21.
Yeah.
So much was lost, right? So commitment versus compliance, performance versus participation, really being informed, locked in with this thing here, your mirror, right? You got to
you
gotta have it. You got to have the mirror and the lock. You see that lock right there? You got to have the lock. So if you're not self-reflecting and you're not locked in, you're not thinking about that needle, that academic needle, as well as those social things that they have to have, that's what keeps me up at night. How can we be the best? How can we continue to move?
Yolanda, I gotta tell Jefe, her mirror is not clean.
Oh, don't tell it. Don't tell it. Hey, you know why? Because I use it every single day. Every day. This was in my book bag.
Every time I'm at a conference, if I tell him at every podcast, clean the mirror, Yolanda McKinney, in the famous words of one of my friends, tisk.
I'm a clean it.
Clean the mirror.
I got
clean
you.
the mirror.
I got you,
Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna again piggyback off a couple of these amazing answers. But how do we serve our students also with special education needs? How are we ensuring that we're not just checking boxes in the classroom and that we're just giving it, it says on a piece of paper, we got to give them what they need to succeed in the classroom. How are we going to have them rise to the crown just like every other student in that classroom? They cannot just be, afterthoughts. So that's one piece that keeps me up at night. The other piece, kind of with what Yolanda was saying, was, not just buy into what we're doing, but also to commit to what you're doing. Right. So the first step is getting them to buy in, but they got to commit. It's got to be what we live and breathe every single day.
Marcus, real quick, as a point of clarification, every time you talk about the crown, are you talking about Ken Williams?
Yes, sir. That's right.
If you all need to make sure you check out Ken Williams. He talks about that school. If you don't know that cat, you better know him. If you're an inspired administrator, you better know him. And if you want to see a great debate of ideas, check out Ken with Jefe on his podcast. That was a great, almost 2.5 hour show. So if you check that out, Ken Williams is a man, Jefe is a man, but them two together talking about visions, it was something else for me as an educator. Loved it. All right, here we go. PGP, here we go. The Ganas lightning round. Ganas. That's why it's called PGP. G is ganas. It is a spiritual word used by all Hispanics. All Hispanics. There is no equate. There is no English word for ganas. Because great-grandmothers tell that to great-grandmothers, and then to grandmothers, and then to hijos, and cousins tell that to uncles. And there is no equate. People say grit. No, there's no equate. It is a spiritual word for all Hispanics. That's why it's called the PG Ganas podcast. And I need you to inspire, especially now, assistant principals. I need you to assist this community, the United States community, the world community, with your spiritual words, your ideas in the lightning round. And this is not a thesis. It's a lightning round. All right? Jeff is too nice. He says he's going to say, he never says, nah. Well, I am going to say, stop it.
He will.
Right there. Exactly, Jefe, right there. Ganas. So he wants you to have ganas. I want you to have ganas and inspire that educator. Tomorrow, el lunes, con ese corazón, con esas ideas. Here we go. Marcus, lead batter. Give advice to a new teacher.
Give yourself grace. Don't strive for perfection. Strive for positive student outcomes. Learn who and what your resources are, and most importantly, use those resources. And then don't skip steps, right? Concentrate on your efforts on structure, relationships, consistency, and tried and true practices. Because once you master all of that, then you can start deviating and be special.
Marcus?
Got it. That's it.
Lightning round, Marcus.
That's it. That was.
All right. Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or a student that inspired you.
All right, email. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for helping Student Name Redacted get a spot at Quist. You've gone above and beyond to help us. We're so grateful. Can't express how much it means to us that our child's at a school where he feels safe and successful, that his needs wouldn't be met at our home school, and Quist has truly been a perfect fit. Being in education myself, I know how important these middle school years are. It's such a relief to see our child thriving. Thank you for everything you and his teachers do for him.
Eso! Que bonito. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
To Anasa Ibante, our computer apps teacher, and Dr. Cynthia Trinidad Sheehan, our web and leadership teacher, major kid connectors who are passionate about inspiring our students to think about their future and give back and connect with their community.
Who should people follow on social media?
Oh, that's my guy, Justin McMillan. At Justin W. McMillan on X or Justin McMillan on LinkedIn. He also has a TikTok. I'm not sure what that handle is, but he's got a lot out there.
And he was here on show 18, so check out show 18, part of the Principals Roundtable. Give one song, una canción that embodies your spirit as a person.
Lean on Me by Bill Withers.
All right. Your favorite quote?
Growth begins at the end of your comfort zone.
What is your favorite cheat food or sweet?
Crumble cookies.
How can people reach out to you, sir, if they want to connect with you in Colorado?
So my work email, mmatas@sd27j.net. I don't know if you want me to put that in the chat, but that's my work email. Send me whatever you need to.
Perfect. And he'll be working on that X handle. Kendrick, Claxton, out of Missouri, give advice to a new teacher.
Oh man, some advice that I'm going to give to a new teacher is definitely going to come from Angela Davis, of just understanding I am now worried about what I can control, and I am not worried about what I cannot control. Basically letting the teachers know, hey, in those four corners, you definitely have the autonomy to control the culture and climate inside of those four walls. So that is some advice I would give to a new inspiring teacher.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
So this email is coming from one of our social emotional committee members. They say, hey, Mr. Claxton, I appreciate all that you do for the kids as well. Your dedication and willingness to understand the impact that trauma has on our students have not gone unnoticed. Thank you for seeing what it truly means to support students' overall well-being.
Eso. Name someone the audience should follow on social media.
Oh man, someone should follow on social media. I will have to definitely say, if you guys are not following Dr. Principal Kumfele on all social media sites and tuning in every Saturday, oh my God, you are missing out. And I do not know how you are not going to the next level without having Principal Kumfele on your agenda for Saturday morning.
What is one song that embodies you as a person? Una canción.
Oh, just one. So with that being said, in just this winter time, the winter is like the least favorite. I would have to say Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Summertime. So yeah, I have to go with that.
What's your favorite quote?
Oh, my favorite quote is by Malcolm X, that education tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for tomorrow. Most definitely.
What is your favorite cheat food or sweet?
Man. My favorite cheat food, I would have to say out in Kansas City, Go Chicken, Go, the gizzards are like my favorite. Fried gizzards.
I love it. How can people reach you, sir?
Oh man, you can reach me on all platforms with just my first and last name, Kendrick Claxton. You can definitely follow me on all platforms. I am not on the X, just like Marcus said. I am not a tech or a social media person, but I'm definitely on all platforms as it pertains to education.
Yolanda, McKinney, here we go. Give advice to a new teacher.
Advice to a new teacher, put a mirror in your classroom. Go back to your why. Build those relationships.
Yep.
Make sure it's a clean mirror. All right. Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
All right. This is a little note that I have from a student. So on here, it just simply says, Mrs. McKinney, you are the best assistant principal. You are like an angel and really kind. God must have been happy to place you in this world. God bless you.
Eso. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
This one is hard. Just one set of flowers, current educator. I'm going to have to throw those flowers to current superintendent, Dr. Ferguson. She's amazing. The impact she's had, knowing kids by name, knowing staff stories, Dr. Ferguson for sure.
Name someone people should follow on social media.
This dude already took it. Principal Kapele, say less.
What's one song that embodies you as a person? Una canción.
In honor of my kids, everything is awesome from the Lego movie. Everything is awesome when you're part of a team.
Your favorite quote?
My favorite quote has to come from Rita Pearson. And the one that she says is, every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists they become the best they can possibly be.
What is your favorite cheat food or sweet?
Ooh, HEB, cookies over Texas ice cream.
If you don't have an HEB around you, I'm sorry. Life cheated you. I'm so sorry. So that means you need to come on over to Texas and have some HEB, just so you all know. How can people reach you?
You guys can reach me on all social media platforms. Here's my handle at Mrs. Yolanda McKinney.
Beautiful. And let's close this out. Out of Oklahoma, the Sooner State. Give advice to a new teacher.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher, a student that inspired you.
Man, too many. Let me hold on. Okay, so I found this letter. Dear Miss Jones Chunu, where do I begin? Thank you for welcoming me into your quad 3 years too late and treating me like family. I always struggle finding places where I truly felt safe enough to practice my art in school. And I have to say that I'm beyond blessed to have had you as a teacher. I learned so much from you. You desire to see us succeed, and your willingness to foster an atmosphere in which those who may not have the voice feel confident enough to stand up in front of an entire room and give it their best shot. Thank you for always wanting to check in on me and being so understanding. Thank you for all the wonderful opportunities you provided me with SOTOs and competitive conquest. I feel so honored to have been a part of choir. I just wish I had been there sooner. I made friends in class that I didn't think I would. I watched as you inspire students to be the best they can be, no matter what struggles they face. Thank you for encouraging students to follow their dreams, no matter how far-fetched they seem. You are truly a guardian angel, and I feel so incredibly blessed to have called you my teacher. Thank you, Ms. Chunu, for everything.
Woo! As Mr. Rick
graduated from college, just got his master's in music from Chicago.
Love it. Awesome. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
And I'm going to send it to my current principal. Her name is Samantha Dunn. She's 36. She's a new principal, but she's bomb. She is very ambitious. Go, Samantha Dunn.
Who should people follow on social media? One person?
The only person, Dr. Barubi Kafele.
What is one song, una canción that embodies you as a
because
person?
what I've been hearing, the theme that I've been hearing is I believe the children are our future. So I'm going to go with The Greatest Love of All by Miss Whitney Houston. I mean, that's it. I do believe children are the future. No,
what's your favorite quote? Your favorite quote?
Man, how do you do this? Hold on, let me get it. It's something by this is by Nelson Mandela. The purpose of education is not only to impart knowledge, but to ignite ambition, empowering individuals to strive for greatness and leave a lasting impact on the world.
What's your favorite cheat food or sweet?
Macaroni and cheese. When it's made.
How can people reach you there in Oklahoma?
What?
How can people reach you?
Oh, so you can reach me on Facebook at Melissa Jones Chunu. You can also, my email is lisi114@hotmail.com.
Awesome.
I'm also on Twitter, but
All right. Thank you, guest panel. Awesome show. Thank you for being here. Stick around. Don't hang up yet there. Everybody, hey, big shout out to Jorge Valenzuela, George Valenzuela, speaker, author for Solution Tree. Thank you for being here. Jefe, you stuck around the whole show. Hey, Jefe, if you're in Las Vegas, go see Purple Rain. It's a imitator for Prince. He is the bomb. He is awesome. He's not that expensive. It's called Purple Rain. He's a great guy. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Don't forget to join us next week for Dr. Culver. Christopher Culver will be here next week. And then the best is coming after that. Jefe is coming in. Everybody, because it's a big repository of knowledge. Assistant principals, superintendents, authors, speakers, everybody's here. You don't need to go anywhere else because it starts on Saturday with Coach Hurd. Then it goes with Shika and Tammy. Then it goes with Jefe. And you close us out on Sunday here with the PGP podcast. And you don't have to get a PO. You don't need to use your Title I money. It's all for free and it's in the archives just for you. So thank you for joining us. Say goodbye to everybody. Say goodbye, panel.